Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an absolutely incredible day. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. So remember how like a couple of days ago everyone was like, oh no, what's happening to Bitcoin? And then like a day and a half later, when we found out that Grayscale apparently wasn't selling as much, we started getting a lot of really weird news that was like, oh my gosh, Bitcoin go up, like that kind of thing, like people being more optimistical as to where Bitcoin's price is going to be in the future. Well, guess what? That's where we are again, because, you know, I always say I'd much rather have optimistic bull rocket to the moon news than everyone being like, well, Bitcoin has to fall down to $4 again before it goes back up. Anthony Scaramucci, who used to be in the news a lot more a couple of years ago, like crypto-wise, and then kind of like poof, just disappeared, is back in the news once again. Anthony Scaramucci, CEO and founder of Skybridge Capital. I always wonder how people name these companies. Like some of them are like Rug Puller Capital or like Big Bug Diamond Capital. Skybridge would not be words I would think of in my head to push together to form the name of a company. He thinks that Bitcoin can, and he says will reach 170,000 US dollars after the Bitcoin mining rewards get cut in half during the halving in April of 2024. So this leads us back to one of those situations where everyone's bullish again, but then you wonder like how bullish exactly. He's going to explain his numbers, which I think up until this point, no one else has actually done. Many other people simply say we're going to $600,000 per Bitcoin, but there's never an explanation. There's never it's more, you know, like sometimes I say, I think that Bitcoin is undervalued and I'm like, Bitcoin should be at least 100K. Well, that's based off of like the $13-14 trillion going through the network every single year. That's the hundreds of millions of people who are using it. It's the network effect. It's the new addresses we see every day. Most of the time, many people simply say, well, Bitcoin's going to be $900 bajillion. And it's like, can you give us a reasoning why? Scaramucci actually does. And I will be very intently looking at this. When I say very intently, it's going to get a little intense for a lot of you out there. According to the hedge fund manager, he said Bitcoin is likely to break new all-time highs in the coming months. In the coming months, this man has now joined the league of bullish gentlemen that we were talking about in the last couple of videos, who have once again reemerged from their diamond-encrusted homes to talk about exactly where they think the prices of the market is going to be, essentially. We have heard and have had a doozy of a time with a number of maximalists who have stated consistently that they believe that Bitcoin is going to go and be over $100,000 after the halving has taken place. And it's not even a months after the halving. The most consistent one that we have had has been by the time of the halving, we will be at a brand new all-time high. That is to say, $70,001. Cool. However, it's usually like the couple of months after or a couple of weeks, what have you, that we've gotten these over 100K numbers for the market. And to clarify, that is, it's not unusual that the market would be that high or that have moved up that much. It's more of a, we tend to normally see the hyper crazy price movements a year after the halving has actually taken place. Scaramucci is saying that essentially this is how time works. Not only would we have a brand new all-time high at the halving, but in the coming months, we would go all the way as well up to 170,000. I need charts. I need to see what people are talking about. Like, I need to really mentally understand how they get to a lot of these numbers. In a recent interview with crypto podcaster Scott Melker, why does that sound so familiar? Scott, oh no, I'm thinking of South Park. Scott Melkinson? What is that? Anyway, the Skybridge Capital founder and managing partner suggested that it would not be surprising for the flagship crypto to jump over 300% in price after the blocking halving. After the April halving, the number of Bitcoin entering circulation every 10 minutes will be cut in half from 6.2. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for it. 3.25 to 3.125 BTC every 10 minutes. You don't understand. I've waited for this moment for such a long time to finally get down to these numbers. It's this halving, the 2028 one, and the 2032. I'm so excited you can't begin to imagine. I know a lot of people probably were not here in the long ago, I mean like 9 days ago, where we were getting the news about actual accumulation from companies. And I'm sure people missed some of those videos. For those of you who did miss it and for wondering why the halving is important besides just the actual halving, if you will, we got news that over the course of I think it was an 8-day period. I want to say 8-day period. No. That's wrong. Sorry for scaring anyone for screaming into the microphone. It was a 3-day period. BlackRock alone accumulated, what was it? In 3 days, BlackRock accumulated Bitcoin that would have been made over the course of 13 days. That's what it was. So there was 900 Bitcoin. There is currently 900 Bitcoin created per day, and they accumulated over the course of 3 days, 13 days worth of Bitcoin, just them. The idea being they're not the only ones buying, so their massive amount of accumulation is quite stark, if you will. And this is why the halving is going to be more interesting, because essentially, mathematically, they would have been accumulating twice as much because the reward gets cut in half. And this is why I think we're seeing these news reports and the skyrocketing numbers of accumulation simply also just by the ETF companies. We had news that they had 65,000 Bitcoin, then 70, then 84,000, then 95,000. And now they're well over 100,000 Bitcoin just within the actual Bitcoin ETFs. And that's also not considering how much other coins have also been accumulated over the course of the last month by other companies as well. He noted that a potential meteoric rally will be largely thanks to historical trends. According to him, data indicates that Bitcoin tends to register a cycle top. Here goes. He said that's 4 times higher than its halving price. His idea is that whatever the price of Bitcoin is on the day of the halving, he says 18 months later, that's how high that the price is going to be. That's why I said I am going to be looking intently at the charts on the day of the halving to see exactly what the prices are. Because, hear me out here, if we end up getting to a 70, 80, it's difficult to say. I wanna believe me. I wanna say that we're gonna get to like a 70, 80, $90,000 Bitcoin, like by the halving. It's not skepticism. It's just more like I need more proof. Like I need more movement in the market, at least at the time of me making this video, to really be convinced of that. But imagine, hear me out, we end up getting to an $80,000, $90,000 Bitcoin by the halving. I mean, we have some months left, sure, why not? That's 180. It'd be a $360,000 Bitcoin. Imagine that actually comes true. And then we can like nearly for certain say like the next time the next halving happens, Bitcoin is definitely going to do a 4x. But then the issue is like, what if Bitcoin's price is like 280,000 on the day of the halving in 2028 and we get to like $1 million Bitcoin? I don't know. It's always a lot to think about, at least for my brain. Yeah, that's the optimism is back in the market. It's very nice to see. I mean, I know that prices aren't in the sky yet, but there's a lot that we are dealing with still with the broader world economy. I know that stocks have been doing well the last couple of weeks, but that's also on the back of a bunch of other stuff that's currently going on. And yeah, exciting times ahead. Very, I'm not sure if it's just me, but I keep blinking and I open my eyes and like 3 or 4 days have passed by. I remember fireworks. It was the beginning of the year. And now, anyway, that's I'm interested in those numbers. If we can hit $170,000 this year, like even I'll give you a good October, November, December. Cool. 340, 360 is definitely going to happen, but I got some questions. That's the halving news. And yeah, let's move on. In this news saved the planet. We were all worse off before this news was released. And now that we have this news, we can all sleep better at night. Leading automotive and clean energy company Tesla has revealed in their earnings report that they did not sell any of their Bitcoin during the end of last year. However, Tesla did not English, purchase any Bitcoin during the quarter as well, marking a period of complete inactivity regarding their crypto investment. The disclosure was made during the company's annual earnings report, which was announced at the end of January. Before the earnings report, it was widely known that the company held a substantial amount of Bitcoin, 9,720 BTC. The value of Tesla's Bitcoin stash currently stands at around 184 million US dollars. Tesla's holding made it the fourth among publicly traded companies to hold a significant amount of Bitcoin. Tesla currently sits behind MicroStrategy, Galaxy Digital Holdings, and Marathon Digital Holdings when it comes to holding Bitcoin. This is according to data from CoinGecko. Now, riddle me this. What kind of news do you think would end up being the most popular news of the day? I don't even have another news story to give you there, but for those of you who didn't know, it's the Tesla news. Yeah, a lot of people were very excited that Elon Musk didn't sell any Bitcoin, not realizing that there are other people who work at these companies, and it's usually not directly up to Elon Musk if they're going to sell something. But alas, here we are. Yeah, incredibly popular news. Was all over the place. Everyone was rather bullish on the fact that they did not sell. I assume they maybe don't have any reason to sell. Sure, we'll see what ends up happening. For those of you who are wondering what made the news so spectacular, it was the word Tesla and Elon Musk and did not sell Bitcoin. So, yeah, that's the most popular news maybe of the decade. I haven't actually decided yet. And yeah, let's move on. So, okay, hear me out on this one. A lot of times in the history of the cryptocurrency space, Charles Hoskinson has been quite vocal. And this is usually down to him making a number of YouTube videos where he gets rather upset because someone said something to him or indirectly to him. And I've mentioned before, like, just buy an island or go somewhere or have a sky mansion. I don't know what rich people have these days, but just like go and live out your best life. So normally, for those of you who haven't been here, especially last year, Charles Hoskinson makes a lot of YouTube videos and posts a lot on Twitter about random happenings when he could just be living it up somewhere. However, I stumbled across this and I couldn't believe it because I was like, I 1,900% agree with him. A lot of people within the cryptocurrency space, and I'll say this in the nicest tone possible, please read a book. Please learn about crypto. If you have the time, and we all do, don't sit there and say you don't have 5 minutes because you know you're lying to yourself. Learn what security laws are. The big fervor in the cryptocurrency space the last couple of years has been the idea of what is a security, what constitutes a security, regardless of the other 190 plus countries around the world. For some reason, this discussion has mainly focused on the United States SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and what their definition of a security is, regardless of any other country on the planet not following the exact same rules. And since then, or even if we go back in time in our time machine, whoop, 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 we had an issue many years ago where people simply pointed the finger at XRP and said, you're a security. And then people read what securities were. And a lot of people educated themselves and they were like, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense at all. And you still had the other band of people who were like desperate to try and throw dirt on XRP. Fast forward, whoop, 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 whoop. I don't know why that's back and forth. We find out that XRP is, according to a court, not a security. The SEC can't really do anything about it. But a lot of people, I'm not saying everyone, a lot of people still have not educated themselves on what could constitute a coin being a security. Remember how a number of years ago, Justin Sun was always tweeting about Tron? He was always talking about it, and I used to mention in my videos that's how you get your coin called a security, because if a coin was created by you, cool, that's one thing. If it's constantly babied by you, if it's spoken about by you, if the price moves based off of your movements and what you do and how you react and how you deal, your coin is probably a security. It's based off of the expectation of profit based off of your doings. Remember before when Justin Sun and Charlie Lee, the creator of Litecoin, were having bad days and they would write tweets and the price would go down? They would say, hey guys, I just woke up today and I'm feeling great. And then the price would go up. Remember why they stopped doing that? It's because I'm pretty sure they had multiple phone calls with the SEC who was like, hey, you guys are teetering on the idea of a security. When you create something and you launch it into the ecosystem, as Hoskinson and many other people did, they were also far more hands-on. And I think even if we can talk realistically, him talking consistently about Cardano on YouTube also doesn't really help. Simply because you are telling people that you are actively associated with this thing that is meant to be thrown into the ecosystem and also float by itself. This is why you don't really see Vitalik Buterin talking as much as well about Ethereum. He'll talk about updates and upgrades, and he talks about a lot of other coins now as well. It's also this idea that years ago, Vitalik Buterin made jokes, and probably some of them were truths, about leaving the cryptocurrency space, how he was bored, he was tired, whatever the day might have held. And the price of Ethereum would move dramatically every single day. Anyway, dragging it on back, a lot of people have become, I don't want to use the word greedy. It's more discontent with the idea of how a lot of these coins are growing. When you hear statements from members of the current and former SEC, the things that they've said before is the reason why they consider Bitcoin to be a commodity is because, as far as we know, the general public and the outer public, Satoshi Nakamoto has no direct influence on the coin. If this man was still texting and typing and Redditing and Instagramming and all these other things, it'd be very different. But Bitcoin kind of exists on its own in its own kind of, the word's not ethos, but like it's its own kind of world. It floats by itself based off of the holding up of 100 million other people. If you, the creator of a coin, talk consistently about your coin, talk about the price of your coin, how great your coin is, how amazing, you are then actively associated with that coin. And you have to, in many ways, based off of security laws and things that we've been seeing from the SEC, you have to take a huge step back from that. This is also very important when we've seen before a lot of companies, or rather foundations, within the cryptocurrency space may back a coin, but they don't necessarily build on top of the coin. So this is why you've heard that there's like something called Ripple X, or there's like all these grants and funds from Cardano and Ethereum and Ripple, etc., who find companies, or companies who go to them and say, hey, I have a proposal for this chain. And they go, cool. We will give you money to build said thing, because you have to build outside of the ecosystem. Someone else has to do it and then put it on top of the chain for it to, you can't actively have a stake. You can't have Charles Hoskinson building every single thing on top of it, because he would literally then be the mover of Cardano, like the actual blockchain. He would make it. He would put everything on top of it, and if it fails, the price would go down. He's too active in that sense. This is why I've told you before, there are a number of chains where these are corporation coins. You know exactly which coin that I'm talking about. It was made by a number of very rich people, was thrown into the ecosystem. We were told that it was decentralized, and it's not. But not only did it break down 11 times in 1 year and have to be restarted, but a lot of the projects put on top of it were actually created by people who created the initial project. You can't have that level of centralization. It literally, like, if you want to be that centralized and don't care about a security tag on your coin by the SEC, gosh darn it, by all means, please go for it. But if you don't want those classifications and you're trying to be as decentralized as possible, you have to do the exact opposite. That's why. So that was the backdrop for this story, because even this photo of Charles Hoskinson was actually my level of surprise as well. When I saw this, I was like, people really don't get it. The point where I said that people are getting more greedy is because people don't understand and don't care what decentralization means. If you are into a project and you scream at the top of your lungs that this coin is decentralized, it's absolutely amazing, I can't believe how amazing it is, and the price isn't going up, it's because your coin is not actively, most of the time, being built on as much as other chains. That is something that is normal, because your coin has to wait for people outside of the ecosystem within the cryptocurrency space to actively want to build things on top of your chain. You can't get mad, or you would not get mad, at Satoshi Nakamoto for Bitcoin's price going down. He has no active hand in the market. If Ethereum goes down in price, you can't say, well, Vitalik's not doing enough. That's the problem that we have right here on the screen. And it's like, I'm as confused as he is. Cardano's founder, his name is Charles Hoskinson, took to Twitter to explain how decentralized protocols operate. Charles Hoskinson has reacted to recent criticism by an ADA enthusiast regarding the Cardano's team's failure to run ads to bolster the network's adoption. You cannot run ads for your coin in a decentralized manner. These are not companies. These are people who created these protocols and threw them to the wind. The best thing would be for them to have no influence at all. Charles Hoskinson should not even be making YouTube videos. That's like already like steps above where he even should be. The idea of him paying money to a company to run ads for Cardano is nonsense. People don't understand what these are meant to be open protocols for everyone on the planet. They're not meant to be advertised. That's what I think gets a lot of people. It's kind of like years ago. This must have happened to a couple of people out there. I'm not really sure. I don't live your life. A lot of people used to ask me how to buy stock in Bitcoin and Ether, and I was like, you can't buy stock. No, like I want to buy small stock of Bitcoin, and I had them like write it out for me, like literally, like what do you mean? Like tell me everything in detail. They wanted Satoshis, but they couldn't conceptualize that Bitcoin wasn't a company because Bitcoin had a market cap. Bitcoin had a total volume of daily usage. So in their mind, someone behind the scenes was turning the lever and was moving everything. You might have remembered even a couple of years ago, it was almost like something magical. Two people in Congress and the Senate, like before they like really got into crypto, this is 2014, 15, 16, where they would ask, well, like, how do we turn off Bitcoin? And they would be talking to someone who'd be like, you can't. And then, what do you mean we can't turn off Bitcoin? Because the idea of there not just being a single server that they could unplug didn't make any sense to them. So people would also ask, well, who's setting the price for Bitcoin? Well, it's the market. What do you mean? Who is the market? Because you would normally have a stock exchange. Well, the stock exchange is having the price based off of people who are trading it at any given time until they close. So people used to ask, well, what time does Bitcoin close? It sounds nonsensical now, but it's still the same exact thing for people who get into the market. This is why I keep saying, and I know that it won't happen, and I know that there's some of you who do it, but you have to read, you have to research, you have to understand that these protocols and these projects are meant to be as decentralized as possible. And that comes with the risk of no one building on your project, no one knowing what the project is. The whole point of the ecosystem, and we had this problem a long time ago as well, is it had to be by word of mouth. Years and years ago, a lot of people used to be so frustrated because they wanted more people to be into Bitcoin and to be into crypto. And I told people, you must remember, this is 2018, 2019, I had a whole video where I was like, you go out and do it yourself. Learn about the space as much as you possibly can, because you are going to have people who are going to be curious. And when they ask you questions, you give them the information back. And if at any point you're at, Christmas dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, when you're with your family, you can, educate people around you and they'll go, okay, I didn't know that it worked that way. And they get into the market. But we're so used to living in a world where someone stands up on stage and he goes, this is the Apple this. And we expect them to do as a company everything that they can to make the stock value rise. So the idea of something that was created by a or multiple people was thrown into the world and has no CEO, has no controller, has no God over it, telling everyone else what's coming out next, what this is so-and-so happening and how it's going to move the price. It frustrates a lot of people within the new people within the cryptocurrency space because they want people who created the coin to stand on stage and go, well, next month we're expecting the price to double because of this coin. We're not shareholders. We hold portions of decentralized protocols that are for everyone on the planet that are at its base core meant to be used, and I dare, lightly say, as a store of value, to transact value across the world, across the planet, at any given time that we so choose to do, because it's the literal opposite of the current financial market that we have right now. That's the basis of these coins. That's the entire basis of the blockchain. People have found other use cases over the course of the last 13 years as to what else can be done, but at its base core, even Cardano is just meant to be like a form of payment to move around money. You sprinkle on the idea of smart contracts and video games and all these other things inside of it, and the people go, well, why is no one using them? Because you have to tell people, you have to educate people yourself. This is what makes it decentralized. But we've lived in a world for so long where that's not really a thing. We're always told by an overlord what to do. And when there is no overlord, people are like, well, I need someone to guide me. For context, A Cardano enthusiast named Bradford Rich, shared a screenshot of a recent screenshot of a recent Solana ad on Twitter. The ad, which explained the growing adoption of Solana over the past years, aimed to lure more devs into adopting the proof-of-scale network for their projects. I swear to actual goodness, this coin, Solana in the future, is going to have so many problems and no one's paying attention to it. I mean, I learned that very quick. After the fourth time the Solana database stopped working and had to be restarted, that was a rough year for me. You understand what it's like having gotten into this space under the context of pure decentralization and seeing after the 11th time that Solana crashed and had to be restarted, that people were still running for it? Because a lot of what's happening for Solana, for those of you who don't know, is this really weird situation where people are pumping out information just about the price, how high the price is going to go, how amazing it's going to go. And I've seen friends completely shift over completely to Solana because they think it's going to do something big because they're seeing the ads. This coin is going to have the hugest security classification on the planet. And I'm just throwing that out there so that a lot of you are not surprised when it actually takes place. You cannot take out ads. Ripple cannot take out ads for XRP. Vitalik Buterin, the Ethereum Foundation, the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance are not going to be running ads asking people to build on top of them. Please use us. Look how amazing our chain is. It's crazy what's happening right now and how many people are just running after this database in hopes of becoming rich as opposed to actual any type of longevity. Commenting, the user asked whether the team behind the Cardano network is also advertising like Solana. Another Cardano enthusiast with the username, it's just numbers and letters, Al4795 slammed the team for playing hide and seek when asked to invest $10 million to bring Circle stablecoin to the Cardano network. Reacting, Hoskinson stated that the suggestion exemplifies what is wrong with running an ecosystem. He said the mindset is an example of what is wrong with how to run an ecosystem. Cardano has a treasury and has community governance. Form a working group at the intersect, talk to the relevant parties, get prices and requirements, have the community vote to approve the plan, and then it kind of continues going on from there. What does work, or what would work, and this is what people don't pay attention to anymore, is if you proposed that idea to the community had a vote on the literal Cardano network because you can vote on things. Remember that? Remember that part of decentralization? You can vote on what happens on the protocol or what happens within the ecosystem. You can have everyone on the network vote. Do you want Cardano to have ads or for there to be Cardano ads? If the vote ends up being 75% yay, you then say, I would propose, as I see that we have X million people on the network, if everyone could donate to Cardano, which comes out to what is it, $1 or something? So we can have roughly around $45 million to be able to run ads over the course of a 3-year period. That's how it gets done from a community perspective, decentralized in its way. So that everyone joins in, and it's just not simply Charles Hoskinson being like, okay, well, I got to take out some ads. It's so frustrating, and I really don't know how he's doing it. Like, I truly don't know how or why at this point he's still posting and trying to like educate people. It's just really, really weird. Not from a, how do I say this? If I was in his shoes, I would literally just like leave the game, similar to all the other creators of these coins. Even Vitalik Buterin has said, he's like, I'm going to leave at some point. He's like, I can't be here forever. It takes away the idea. Because like, imagine we get into a situation where we know that over the course of the next, 120 years, it's going to take that long to actually mine Bitcoin, like mine all the Bitcoin that there ever is. In the scenario that Ethereum also lasts that long, plus let's say 160 years, in 70, 80 years, will Vitalik be around? Will the price of Ethereum collapse on the day that he's 95 and then perishes? Like, you have to, there's no, like, so few people think of actual longevity in this market. It's simply like now. And this is the other thing that really, like, I think annoys me when it comes to investing, is that people, it's just like now, today. Like, I need all the money today. But this is how the rich become rich. They invest years and years ago, and they still invest now, and they hold on to the money, they hold on to the stocks, they hold on to the land, they hold on to the real estate. It's not buying something, flipping it, and then being like, well, let me go buy a car and go rent an apartment. No, it's all longevity. And so many people who are into this market, they would do so well if they just understood that things take time. But time they feel like they don't have. And that usually ends up being the problem. And everybody wants to become rich right now, as opposed to being like, if this market is going to be around for the next 100 years, think of how much money there is to actually be, whatever. You understand what I'm trying to say, but it just becomes quite frustrating when dealing with all of this all the time. Yeah, I totally agree with him. 9,000%. You cannot do that. It doesn't make any sense. Any other coin doing that? And I don't even care for the idea of the security classification. Like, I also think it's pure nonsense. These are laws from the 1920s. But in a realistic world where the SEC has a stronghold on the market, if you are trying to get your coin in trouble with them or have the SEC control it, take out ads. I don't get how anyone's into Solana. Like, I actually do not get it. There was something a couple of weeks ago, last thought. There was something a couple of weeks ago that, what was it? I saw it somewhere for a bunch of like older coins that I told all of you years ago were going to disappear. Nobody would use them. And there were ads for them again. And I was like, people are still trying the same nonsense, like the same protocols. Even the idea of there being like a Solana phone and there being like airdrops for it, that was all a marketing stunt as well. No one wanted that phone for 9 months. It was out for so long and no one wanted it. Like, they were literally closing up shop, and the only thing that they could think of was somebody bought a phone for, was it $5,000 on eBay? And I said, doesn't that seem weird? You can get the phone for $299. Who would buy it for $5,000? And lo and behold, it worked. The marketing stunt worked. People thought that phone was worth $5,000. It's a piece of garbage. Nobody wanted it. There was a what was it? A Solana store in New York. It closed down. Nobody really wants to use this protocol. If they did, people would be rushing towards the same exact way that they're building stuff on top of Cardano and building stuff on top of Ethereum. And then you get someone to say, well, someone bought a phone for $5,000, and everyone starts buying one. And then they just made, what was it? Solana Phone 2 or something like that. And people also bought that. And it's like, you don't understand what's happening. This is literally a corporation coin. You wonder why you lose money in all these protocols and why things don't work out is because you see something flashy and you run towards it, as opposed to looking for anything with longevity. That's the thing that got me years ago. There were so many people who refused to buy even a fraction of Bitcoin. And I was like, do you understand what this game is? Do you understand what market that you're in? Bitcoin is the market. But people bought Bitcoin Diamond. They bought Bitcoin Cash. They bought Bitcoin Cash Satoshi's Vision. They bought Vertcoin. They bought all this other stuff. And I was like, you don't own a fraction of the number one coin that's been number one for 15 years that people are telling you is going to $250,000 in 18 months. And over the course of the next 10 years might be $5 to $10 million. But you bought a phone. That's what, with a meme coin on top of it. Infuriating. That is most certainly gonna do it for this video, without a doubt. My voice is hoarse at this point. You can always tell when my blood pressure has raised, when I'm stuttering, and when I can't pronounce my words properly. And I know that my throat is also hurting from like the constant talking for 30 something minutes. Oh boy. Please do research. Please read. Please explore. Please learn more. If a coin sticks out to you and looks interesting and fascinating, look if it's just on the base level. Is it being used? Does someone want to use this? Is anyone building on top of it? And then if you find stuff being built on top of it, who did it? Was it the company who made the coin, who created another project and said, hey, we have a new thing built on top of it? Find out why Bitcoin is number one. If you get a chance, listen to old speeches by Andreas Antonopoulos. He's not active. He's not, like, I don't see him around anymore. Listen to his speeches, listen to his words, listen to why these people talk so heavily about Bitcoin, why there's was such a run for Bitcoin ETFs as opposed to anything else. My gosh, it's all right in front of you. It's all right there. I don't get it. Anyway, good job, Hoskinson, on trying to defend Cardano, or, you know, have some sense into people, because it's like, geez Louise, guys, get it together. It's so frustrating. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I just kicked my food. How did I do that? I do hope you all are having a great day, great morning, great afternoon, or great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.